What if I told you that motivation is the worst thing to rely on when trying to lose weight or get healthy? It sounds kind of crazy, right? But it's exactly why 80% of people give up on their New Year's resolutions by mid-February, and why over 90% of people fail by the end of the year. There is good news though. There's a much better way to stay on track, and it has nothing to do with willpower. In this video, I'm going to share 3 simple strategies that can make consistency completely effortless so you can finally see the results that actually last. Now, the problem isn't that people can't achieve their goals. The problem is that they start with a motivation-based approach instead of a habit-based approach. Here's what I mean. So motivation is kind of like a sugar rush. It feels amazing at first, but it always seems to fade. Now, habits, on the other hand, are like compound interest. They build over time and create real lasting change. So if you've lost steam on a goal, here's the good news. You don't need a perfect moment or a new year to restart. You just need a better strategy. Now, the first thing that I want you to try to do is forget about perfection. Just focus on consistency. So missing a workout or eating off plan doesn't really mean you failed. It just means that you're human. And recently, I actually had some of my son's birthday cake. It wasn't very good, but if it was, I might have literally crushed the entire thing. But you know what I didn't do? Was I didn't let the floodgates open and stuff my face with a bag of chocolate or a pint of ice cream. I just told myself to stay consistent with the plan. The key is to get back on track at the very, very next opportunity and not wait for Monday or next month or next year. It's just really, really easy to snowball. But if you tell yourself it's okay to veer off track every once in a while, it's going to be a lot easier to get back on track. But if you do fail, which you very likely will, because we all do, just get back up. And also keep in mind that if you're watching this video right now, you're still standing. So don't let things completely derail you. And if you do veer off course, try to course correct as fast as you can so you can keep your consistency up, because consistency is literally everything. Now, the next thing that I want you to try to do is to just shrink the commitment, but play the long game. So when I was 9, we had to run the mile in PE class, and this was actually my first time running it, and our teacher gave us explicit instructions to not go too hard in the very beginning, otherwise we would completely run out of gas. So what did 9-year-old Tim decide to do? Well, I sprinted my ass off for the first 200 meters and then literally proceeded to die. Then I had to run 3.5 laps, feeling horrible, exhausted, and then with my tail tucked between my legs. But this was actually a really good lesson to learn, because when people have really big goals, oftentimes they tend to go too hard, too fast, and then they completely burn out. So instead of committing an hour to the gym 5 days a week, maybe try committing 15 minutes of walking per day. Instead of overhauling your entire diet, focus on one small change, like maybe swapping out seed oils or adding in more protein. Now, if I had actually started slower when running that mile, I would have finished faster and I would have been less exhausted at the end of the run. So it's okay to slow things down, but you always need to keep the end goal in sight. And when you couple slowing things down and staying consistent, and if you do this for a full year, by the end of that year, you're going to be a completely different person. Now, the last thing that I really want you to try to do is just make things stupidly simple. So you can take anywhere between 18 and 254 days to build a new habit, but the more control you have over things, the easier it actually is. So when I was a kid, we used to eat a lot of candy, things like red licorice, Gushers, fruit roll-ups, all of that 90s processed crap. And to be completely honest, that stuff is still delicious, but I'm never gonna eat it again. And the reason why I'm never gonna do this is because I just don't buy it. If I bought it, I probably wouldn't be making this video right now. So one of the simplest things for me to do is to just not buy garbage, because if I buy it, I'm gonna eat it. And if I don't, I'm not gonna eat it. So it almost really just doesn't get any simpler than that. But the easier the habit, the more likely you are to stick with it. So you can try things like laying out your gym clothes the night before. You could be more proactive about pre-planning your meals. I personally do this one all the time. Every night I make my lunch for the next day. You can also set an alarm for a short walk after lunch. It's the small, little, minute actions that just create so much more momentum. Now, if you've already given up on your goal, you're definitely not alone, but You don't need to have a perfect restart. You just need a next step. You need to stay consistent, start small, and then make it ridiculously simple. So if you've made it this far, I'm going to challenge you to pick one tiny little thing that you can do to move the needle in the right direction. So do it today, then do it tomorrow, and then do it the next day. And leave a comment down below about what your small actionable step is going to be, and I'll personally respond to you. So remember, success isn't about grand gestures. It's just about showing up over and over and over until the habit sticks. Now, if you need more help with actionable fat loss tips that actually work, check out my newsletter at metabolicupgrade.com. I'll leave a link in the description down below, and watch this video right here if you want to know some of my very best fat loss tips that I've picked up over the last 15 years.